Well, yeah, some of the basics, Mr. Benjamin. What will the salary be, and from when to when will he serve?
Our contract with Mr. Sarles is from March 29th, when he will show up, until such time as we find a permanent general manager. The contract lasts for a year. It can be renewed. His salary is $25,000 a month for all the time between now and when we do find a new general manager. He also receives, because he will be living here temporarily, housing. We will pay for a one-bedroom apartment, and his moving expenses. All other benefits are identical to those that are given to our senior managers. Yes?
Rebecca Cooper with ABC7. So why wouldn't you want a permanent job? Is it true that it's a job that people are not eager to take?
Well, I suspect there'll be people very eager to take this job. But frankly, I just retired from New Jersey Transit. Look at the gray hair on my head. And I do look forward to someday actually retiring. And I would hope that that's not too far in the future. But I just saw this as a great opportunity, as I said before. I've been in public transportation all my life. This is a great system. It's a nation's capital, and I want to come here and do what I can do to lead this in the interim period while the board searches for a new leader. 5 years from now, I would hope that that person is still working here, and I'm sitting on a beach somewhere.
If I could follow up, what do you see as the most immediate challenges since you have that short interim?
Yes. The first priority, the top priority at any public transportation agency is safety. And given what has occurred, the events that have occurred over the last months, year, that's where my focus is really going to be. It's going to be focusing on the fundamentals of operating an agency, safety, reliability, of course the budget. But that's where I want to just focus, bring in a few people because we have a few vacant positions, strengthen it, and just set the firm foundation for the next person who comes in to be the permanent GM.
Safety has been the mantra. I mean, we've heard it for a long time, and yet Metro has had a pretty bad year. Any magic bullets in your holster?
There's no magic about safety. Safety takes a lot of hard work. It takes attention at all levels in the organization, from the person operating the bus or operating a train, to the board, to me, to the senior management. And it's focusing on all the little details that goes with that. It's focusing on the training, make sure the rules are right, make sure people follow the rules. And more than that is people have to think about safety every day they're on the job. And what they're doing, is it the right way to do it? Is there a better way to do it safely? And that kind of dialogue has to go on. It also has to be a rigorous examination. In my initial period being here, I'm going to focus on not only listening to our employees, which is very important, as to their safety suggestions, but to the commuter group. I understand you have advisory council. I want to listen to them. David Gunn, I understand, is here doing a report. I want to get his recommendations. Certainly out of the NTSB, there are recommendations. And I will be talking to people and other people, including probably some of you in the press, about what your perspectives are so that we can then not only put a plan together, but act on the plan. And that's where I come from, as results. And that's what we're going to have to work on.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, Nancy for Washington. The job here in Washington is also an intensely political one. How do you prepare, how are you conceptualizing dealing with the different jurisdictions, that part of it being critical to funding and measuring?
Well, I think any CO job and any public transportation agency in this country has an significant element of politics to it, and dealing with the politics. So that'll be a little different here, a little different stage, and I will learn to deal with and actually interact with the different leaders here and get their input, and also give them my input as the way I think this should move forward. But I will tell you that my focus is on the fundamentals here: safety, reliable operation, and that's where I'm going to be spending most of my time. Yes.
Can you introduce yourself?
With the Washington Examiner. Are you planning to take Metro as your primary expertise?
Actually, in talking with Peter about where my one-bedroom apartment can be located, my specification is that it's near a Metro stop that I can walk to. You can check back on my history. I am a user of public transportation. In my previous job, conductors knew me very well on the trains, and I've done that all my life. I got to tell you, a little bit of personal background. and why I'm interested in public transportation, have been, it's made it my career, is, you know, I grew up as a kid in a family that didn't have a car in North Jersey. And if I wanted to get to the movies, if we wanted to go to a restaurant, my mother wanted to go to work, it was all by bus. When I went to college, it was by bus and subway. I was a transit dependent, I guess is the term these days. But I saw personally the importance of public transportation to people. And when I chose to go, you know, graduate from college, I focused only on getting a job in the quasi-public private sector in public transportation because I think it's so important to people. That's why I'm here. Yes.
Have you had the chance, well, let me phrase it this way. Senator Mikulski has been one of many critics saying that Metro has not been open enough, has not given enough access to investigators, to people providing oversight. What's your view on openness and access?
In favor of both. I will tell you that in the organizations I've worked for, they happen to be all fall under the regulation of the FRA. New Jersey Transit, Amtrak, and the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey PATH piece. I'm used to oversight. I'm used to the fact you need to provide open access. And frankly, the transparency and the openness brings out more ideas, gets it out faster. You know, I don't want to hide problems. That's the worst thing you can do, especially when you're dealing with safety and reliability. You got to get them out there. And then you got to deal with them. And you can't be afraid of them. You got to deal with them. You got to solve the issue, the problems. Yes.
Question over here.
No, sorry.
Yeah, John Treppan, NBC4. What problems with safety have you dealt with in the past that have prepared you for this new position?
Well, every day you operate a railroad, a bus operation, there's always safety concerns. Whether it's buses, you know, getting involved in accidents, the tragedy of death, when either an employee or a passenger or a trespasser, you know, is killed. These are things you deal with every day. The thing is to try to get out in front of it, to understand where the risks are, where the safety issues are, so that it does not become an accident, it does not become an injury, it does not become a fatality. But that's what you have to get out in front of, and it's something that all staff has to focus on.
Are there any particular cases that stand out in your mind in your history?
Sure. In the early part of my tenure as executive director at New Jersey Transit, we had a worker fatality. That's the worst. I mean, it was the worst part of my entire career. To have to go to the family, which I did, and talk to them about, you know, their father, the husband's death at work, to go to the funeral and have to speak about that person. Well, I certainly, you know, I wanted to talk about him, what he had been meant to the company. He was a long-term employee. But the idea to have dealt with that personally, you know, it was tough. It was really tough. And what we did, as we would do with a much even less tragic incident, is we immediately, you know, issued safety bulletins. We immediately had to stand down the engineering department because this person happened to be a track worker. And at all levels of supervision, met with all the employees in the rail engineering division and went over all the safety rules and procedures so we wouldn't face this again. We also, because I like outside eyes, going back to maybe the question before, I like outside eyes because no matter how much you work and are familiar with a particular area, you don't see everything. You just don't see it. So you bring in outside eyes. And in that case, we brought in APTA, a peer review group, and they saw some things, even though we're FRA compliant in terms of our procedures, they saw some best practices from other agencies that we then incorporate into our procedures. But that's the kind of reaction, as soon as you can, you know, you do deal with.